Yeah. So we had a little surprise. We got our lambs about a week earlier than I anticipated. So I just want to show you real quick a little bit of our lambing setup, show you our lambs because they are the cutest things. This is a ewe lamb born to Frankie, my favorite girl. And this is a little ram lamb, the brother of the ewe, Frankie's other. You can hear her complaining, "What are you doing with my baby? Yeah, little guy." They don't have names yet. Yeah. Our other mama, I'll show you on the other side. Lily, she had 2 ram lambs, all white, just like her. Hey, Miss Lily. And she lambed 2 days after Frankie did. Here we have Lily. And you can see one little lamb under there. And the other one, oh, there he is. And these ones were born a little bit smaller than Frankie's 2 lambs. And so they still look a little skinny. They're also 2 days younger. And you would be amazed at how much weight a lamb will put on after just a couple of days. They still look a little bit dirty, but Mama did a great job of cleaning them off right away after birth, getting them to nurse right away. I didn't have to intervene at all. We had a very good idea of when to expect lambs because I got lucky and I saw the breeding between our ewes and our ram, so I could count forward the 152 days or approximately 5 months of when to expect the sheep, or excuse me, when to expect the lambs. And they came about a week early, and I saw Frankie in the afternoon, and it was clear right away that she was in labor, early labor, because her ba had deepened and changed from her normal ba, and she kept looking at her stomach. And of course, I'd been watching for udder development, and she was quite round. You see that she's shed a few pounds here. She's definitely still recovering from birth. And so we got her set up in her jug where she could be calm and quiet by herself. Excuse me. It's been it's been a long few nights with all these lambs coming. Aw, brother, sister, love. And Mama's checking on them. And so just maybe an hour or so later, we could tell that she was in active labor because she was starting to push. And then we saw front hooves come out of the vagina. And that's a really good thing to watch for when those hooves come out, because it kind of starts your timer of when do I need to help. But it also tells you that the lamb is well positioned, and they should go in the kind of nosedive where the front hooves and the nose rests right on top of those hooves. That's the optimal position, just like human babies need to be face down, preferably facing towards, if I remember correctly, mom's back. And it just makes labor go easier. That's all. And so from nose to toes, as they say, to having a lamb on the ground was about half an hour. And within 5 minutes, I looked at my camera roll to check, number 2 was born. It was so fast from 1 to 2. And this is the ewe, the one with more black on her. She was born second. And little ram boy over here was born first. Birth was so easy. Mama got up right away and started cleaning them. She was talking to him the whole time, bang at them. You'll still hear that a little bit from Lily. The lambs will ba, and then Mama will give an answering ba just to let them know, hey, I'm here, I'm keeping an eye on you. And so right after that, we got everybody cleaned up. A correction, I didn't clean up the lambs. I let Mama do that. Frankie was very attentive. She's watching outside right now. We put down fresh straw, basically, just to make sure everybody was dry, that it wasn't too slippery, that the lambs could start to stand up. And got some nice warm molasses water for Frankie. The molasses gives them a little bit of an energy boost. It also provides some calcium right after lambing because they're about to go into high milk production. And we just stayed close to make sure that the lambs were getting dried off, up, warm, and starting to nurse. Just like humans, you want them to get that colostrum in the first hour or so that they're off to the best start. Little Dalmatian lambs, aren't they? We are in what's called a jug, and a jug is just a small section of the barn. You can see how it's boarded off. There's the tripod, of course, hay feeder. And what a jug does is it provides mama and babies a safe area. Hi, baby. to lamb, where she can be calm, alone, have it nice and quiet when she's getting ready to lamb and the other sheep aren't interfering with her. And then of course after the lambs arrive, then they're not getting stepped on or stuck in a colder corner of the barn while they're getting dried off or learning to nurse, getting up to jump around, all that good stuff. So this is called a jug, and you can see that right next door is jug number 2. You can't really see it, but there's a cattle panel on this side. And then we have these plywood pieces so that the lambs didn't get into the pallet. This is homestead chic right here. Baling twine, cattle panels, and buckets. Make do with what you've got. Oh, a little lamb. Okay, so I wanted to add in a little bit about Lily's birth, her lambing, because I realized yesterday when I talked about Frankie, I totally forgot to talk about Lily. And Lily's was equally easy, I have to say. I'd been keeping an eye on her for the last couple of days because she was separating herself a little bit from the flock, and that's another sign of labor or early labor, that they want to isolate themselves a little bit, find a nice, quiet, safe place to go. And so I've been keeping a good eye on her. I had her jug set up already, and I actually put her in the jug overnight for, I think, 2 nights, expecting to see lambs, and didn't. And then, sorry, my doggy wants to try to come in. Rox, out of here. So I had separated her for 2 nights actually, thinking that she would lamb, and she didn't obviously. But then during the day, my husband saw her and said, "Hey, Lily is pawing at the ground," which is, again, another sure sign that labor is coming, because they use it as a stress and pain reliever to paw the ground. They're also making themselves a little nest for where they feel comfortable lambing. And so we put her back in the jug because we'd let her out during the day. And an hour later, I came out to check on her, and there was a lamb on the ground, like from 0 to 60 in an hour. And a little white, scrawny lamb. So we came in and, made sure that it was being attended to. I didn't intervene at all. And she did have 2, but she probably spent 20 minutes cleaning the first lamb and tending to it, plus the however many minutes it had been on the ground already when we realized it. And he was still pretty wet, so it hadn't been long. Whereas Frankie was 4 or 5 minutes from one to the second. Lily took about half an hour. And the second one was also delivered with 0 assistance. She tended to it right away. They latched on very easily. So the lambs got up, moving, drinking, all that good stuff. So all in all, 2 uneventful lambings. Our first one, I couldn't be happier with how it went. We still have our 3rd one to come, and she's a first freshener, Nora is. That means this is her first year where she's going to have lambs. So I'm really glad to have 2 lambings, 2 experienced moms already under our belt, so that I kind of have a better idea of what to expect, and the progression and things to look out for, what maybe could go differently than what we've experienced with Lily and Frankie. So I feel as comfortable as one can be leading into our next lambing, and have a pretty good idea of what to watch out for. So if you are enjoying this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I'm going to keep chronicling our journey into dairy sheep and lambing and getting them out on pasture and all that good stuff.